ସାର୍ ସବୁ କ୍ଲାସ୍ର ରେକର୍ଡିଂ ଗୁଡ଼ା କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଟିକେ ଆମକୁ ସେୟାର କଲେ ହୁଅନ୍ତା ଭଲ। କଣ୍ଟେଣ୍ଟ ଗୁଡ଼ାକ ମିଳୁନାହିଁ ସବୁବେଳେ। ଷ୍ଟଡି ମ୍ୟାଟେରିଆଲ ସେ ସବୁ କଣ୍ଟାକ୍ଟ ନାହିଁ, ତେଣୁ ଆପଣ ଟିକେ ଯେଉଁ ରେକର୍ଡିଂ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଦେଲେ ଟିକେ ଆମେ ଉପକୃତ ହୁଅନ୍ତୁ।
Hello, good evening to all.
Good
Good
evening,
evening,
sir.
sir.
Good evening. Just
Good
okay.
evening.
Good evening, sir.
Evening, sir.
Good evening. Okay, good evening to all. Just no, wait. Let others come. Then after I will start. After 2 to 3 minutes. Okay. We are coming and doing. Just 2 to 3 minutes. Wait.
Yes, sir.
Because others are coming. Just wait. Hello, am I audible to you? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. So thank you, Alushi. So welcome to that is literary criticism and theory. Welcome to literary criticism and theory. MEG-5 and block 7. Block 7. Do you know what is that the block 7?
Deconstruction, sir.
Okay, very good. Deconstruction. Deconstruction. So discussion is deconstruction, not construction, but deconstruction. Well, not. Don't take it otherwise. So you see, so today to start deconstruction. That the seventh unit, as per you are saying, or block uh, of MEG-5, of MEG-5. Okay. So, at first, just as earlier I have been discussing with you, taking some important points in a nutshell, today also to do the same, as you know that duration is 2 hours, so within that short span, difficult to cover up all these if we discuss everything elaborately. Elaborately, here no question of elaboration, rather as brief as possible. Well, so see, what does deconstruction mean in literature? At first, we have to understand. Or meaning of deconstruction. Meaning of that's very simple meaning or lines of the word deconstruction. Or what does deconstruction mean in a literature? Let's start some important lines. Then after we have to pass on to the next serial one after another, touching the important points. So you see, deconstruction, that's the very ordinary meaning of deconstruction, you know, it's renewal. So, deconstruction doesn't mean deconstruction, deconstruction doesn't mean demolition. Deconstruction doesn't mean demolition. Demolition. Instead, it means deconstruction doesn't mean demolition. Instead, it means breaking down or analyzing something, especially the work in a work of fiction and non-fiction. The work in a work of fiction and non-fiction. To discover its true significance, which is supposed by almost never exactly what the author intended. Again, some more lines about deconstruction to make you clear using the most simplest lines. Meaning of deconstruction, it is loosely defined set of approach. It is loosely defined set of approach to understand the relationship between text and meaning. Remember, it is loosely defined a set of approach to understanding the relationship between text and meaning. It is the it's this concept of deconstruction. The concept of deconstruction was introduced by Jacques Derrida. Jacques Derrida. So, who is the father of deconstruction? Who is the father of deconstruction? Derrida, that is Jacques, Jacques Derrida is the father of deconstruction. Since he published 3 books in 1967 that laid the groundwork for Derrida's deconstruction theory. Again, repeating, Jacques Derrida or Derrida, simply giving you, is the father of deconstruction. Since he published 3 books in 1967 that laid the groundwork of Derrida's deconstruction theory. Then what is the concept of deconstruction? What is the concept of deconstruction? Are you listening? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Huh.
sir.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
sir.
okay,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
So what is the concept of a deconstruction? I knew that is what does deconstruction mean in literature, in port pipelines? Okay, then just know now who is the father of deconstruction in short, just get an idea. So all these are the ideas that we have to put in your mind. If required, also present at the hour of need. So what is the concept of deconstruction? What is the concept of deconstruction? Deconstruction doesn't actually mean demolition, as earlier I told. Deconstruction doesn't actually mean demolition. Instead, it means breaking down or analyzing something, especially the words in which the work of fiction or non-fiction. So fiction means, do you know what the meaning of fiction? Fiction means literature in form of a prose. Fiction means literature in form of a prose that describes a sound is coming, some sort of noisy sound is coming. Freeze up. Sorry, that's mute.
Sir, Mr. Kirod Mahakud actually unmuted.
So tell him to wake up. Hmm. So fiction means literature in form of a prose. Understand? Fiction means literature in form of prose that describes imaginary events. That describes
That makes
imaginary
events.
literature. Fiction meaning literature in form of a prose that describes imaginary events and people in form of a prose, but that describes imaginary events and persons. So, what is non-fiction? Non-fiction means prose writing that is informative or factual rather than fictional. This is the difference between fiction and
Sir, we
non-fiction.
can say non-fiction is the reality.
That is informative or factual based on fact. Based on fact. Fact means truth. So, but fiction means imaginary event or and people. Based on imaginary prose, based on imaginary events and people. Non-fiction means prose writing that is informative or factual rather than fictional. Okay, that's the meaning. Simply you just know now. So now telling you about what is an what is the concept of deconstruction. Deconstruction doesn't actually mean demolition. Instead, it means breaking down, analyzing something, breaking down or analyzing something, uh, analyzing or breaking down or analyzing something, especially the words in a work of fiction or non-fiction, to discover its true significance, which is supposedly almost never exactly what the author intended. Then, what are the two aspects of deconstruction? What are the two aspects of deconstruction? What are the two aspects of a deconstruction? These are the short points. That's very, very necessary to make you clear if any doubt is there. So,
Sir,
deconstruction,
excuse me, sir.
what,
Sir,
what
you
are
said that. Excuse me, sorry to disturb you, sir.
okay,
Actually, you told na, in a word of a fiction or non-fiction after that, which is not intended by the writer.
which is not intended, that exactly non-fiction, to discover its true significance, which is supposedly almost never exactly what the author intended. Author intended. Okay, means it's a set of approach to understand the relationship between text and meaning. This deconstruction is a set of approach. It's a loosely defined set of approach to understanding the relationship between text and meaning. Text and meaning. So Derrida is the founding father, as I told twice. So that is intended. Then what are the two aspects of deconstruction? What are the two aspects of deconstruction? Deconstruction has at least two aspects, literary and philosophical. What are the two aspects of deconstruction? Deconstruction has at least two aspects, litera- literary and philosophical. Literary and uh, philosophical. The literary aspect concerns the textual interpretation. Remember, it has two aspects, literary and philosophical. The literary aspect concerns the textual interpretation, where invention is essential to finding where invention invention is essential to finding hidden alternative meanings in the text. Where invention is essential to finding hidden alternative meanings in the text. Then, what is an example of deconstruction in literature? What is an example of deconstruction in literature?
Sir, the second point you said that second aspect is philosophical. Can you please tell that philosophical, the definition of philosophical concept?
Philosophical means has at least two aspects, literary and philosophical. The literary aspect concerns the textual interpretation, invention, where invention is essential to finding hidden alternative meanings in the text. Then what is an example of a deconstruction in literature? Deconstruction argues that logical structure based on binaries or binary pairs. Binary means relating to or composed of or involving two things. Binary means involving two things. So deconstruction argues that logical structure based on binaries or binary pairs are the bones of society and language. A binary consists of two concepts. A binary, we'll discuss it. What is binary opposition? That is the short note. So after just discussing many things, then after we will touch that point. It is in this present syllabus. Binary oppositions. We'll discuss in detail. So a binary consists of two. A binary consists of the two concepts that are presented as being at odds with each other. Odds means dissimilarities. You know, odds and
Repeat that in
oddities.
English.
A binary consists of two concepts that are presented as being at odds with each other. Example include life, death, mind, body, and masculine, feminine. Understand? Odds with each other. Life, death. Just example. Mind and body. Okay. Consist of two concepts. Life is something otherwise, and also death is another thing. Mind is okay, and body and masculine, feminine. Okay. Two concepts that are presented as being at odds. Then what is the language of deconstruction? What is the language of deconstruction? A principal
Sir,
tenet. Hello.
sir, so this deconstruction argues that logical structure based on
logical structure based on binary pairs. Binaries or binary pairs. Binary means two things. Two things. Binary pairs are the bones of society and language. A binary consists of two concepts. Consisting of two concepts that are presented as being at odds with each other. Example include life, death, mind, body, and masculine, feminine. So, what is the language of a deconstruction? A principle tenet. So, a principal tenet means principle or belief. Tenet means principle or belief, especially one of the main principles of a religion or philosophy. Yes, tenet means a principle or belief, primarily one of the main principles of a religion or philosophy. So, a principal tenet of deconstruction is that language is always ambiguous and unstable. Language, a principal rule, tenet means rule, based on a particular religion or philosophy. That language is always ambiguous and unstable. Means it is changing what you are speaking at present right now. So tomorrow you may just change your version, speak in another way. So it will differ from person to person. Okay, as doctors differ,
What is
so
the
also
meaning
here
of ambiguous?
language differs. So that language is always ambiguous and unstable, and that
The
any
meaning of ambiguous is
ambiguous, no, ambiguous means having a dual meaning.
dual meaning,
Double
double
meaning.
meaning.
Ambiguous means that Mr. You can okay arrive at a conclusion. Ambiguous and unstable. Okay, that is you are in a dilemma. Dilemma. Which one is correct or which one is incorrect? Okay, that which one you have to accept and which one you have to reject. Okay, so in between, just to that's remain. That is called ambiguous dilemma. So confusing. Language is always ambiguous and unstable, and that any word or sentence can have multiple meanings. Multiple meanings. Suppose you are uh, using okay a word in a sentence. You are using a word in a sentence. Okay, so also you can use the same word in another sentence with its context. So that is with another context, so that any word or sentence can have multiple meanings at once, and and conflicting uh, conflicting meanings, that is have multiple meanings at once, and conflicting meanings are. This is because a good deal of language is made of binary oppositions. Why? Because double meaning. Binary means consisting of two aspects. Binary means consisting of two aspects. Okay. This is because uh, this is because a good deal of language is made up of binary oppositions. That is light, dark, strong, weak, man, woman, etc. Okay,
Sir,
light.
the language is made of, again, please tell the last line. This is because a good deal of
Made up of binary means consist of two aspects, light and dark. Okay, light is something and also dark is something. Strong, weak. Okay, strong and weak. Multiple meanings at once and conflicting meanings at that. Okay, so who introduced the concept of deconstruction? in literature. As earlier I told, who introduced the concept of deconstruction in literature. Deconstruction is the process of dismantling. Deconstruction is the process of dismantling. Dismantling means take take apart. Take apart. Dismantle. Suppose a machine or structure, take a machine or structure to pieces. That is called dismantle. Take apart. So deconstruction is the process of dismantling language to expose the relational quality. Language to expose the relational quality. Relational quality means it is the
That line,
result. Language deconstruction. Deconstruction is the process of dismantling, means taking apart. It takes away. Process of dismantling language to expose the relational quality of meaning. Relational quality, listen, it is the result of the way people relate to each other, to situations, each other and to situations. Relational quality means it is the result of the way, it is the result of the way people relate to each other and to situations. That is called relational quality. So, that is language to expose the relational quality of meaning. The creator of deconstruction is Jacques Derrida. This concept was introduced by, or we may call it as the creator of deconstruction, Derrida, who expands on this idea with his concept of difference. Difference means that is um, difference. It is a French term coined by Jacques Derrida.
sir, please repeat the last line. Derrida, who?
Uh, that is who expands on this idea. That is relational quality means. Relational quality means, as I told, relational quality means quality that's is the result of the way people relate to each other or to situations. Derrida also accepted this idea. He expands on this idea with his concept of difference. Difference means, listen, it is a French term coined by Jacques Derrida. It's a French term coined by Derrida. It is a central concept in Derrida's deconstruction. The difference is a central concept in Derrida deconstruction. A critical outlook. The difference is that's a critical outlook concerned with the relationship. Difference means that it's a critical, it's a central concept in Derrida's deconstruction. It is deconstruction, a critical outlook concerned with the relationship between text and meaning. The term difference means difference. Okay. So
Sir, a
its meaning is
critical outlook.
critical outlook concerned with or concerned with the relationship between text and meaning. The relationship between text and meaning. The term difference means difference. Difference. Okay, so what is the difference between text and its meaning? That is called difference. Well, so because we can never really so now just I was discussing who that's who introduced the concept of reconstruction. Okay, differences is always a differ because we can never really define them. Because here meaning is ambiguous, as earlier I told, language is always ambiguous and unstable. We can't reach at a particular point. Okay, or we can't arrive at the conclusion. Okay, so what is the another word for deconstruction? The another word for deconstruction is interpret, dismantle, reset, decipher, or decode. Okay, leave it. So that is what is the main point of the deconstruction theory? You just listen to all this, you just get a clear idea. Then after you have to switch out to the next. Also here we have to discuss structuralism and new criticism. New criticism versus structuralism, that is in this syllabus, strictly given. You may just go through your book. You may go through your book to know what is the. Okay, I will also discuss today the a little bit about that. What is the difference between new criticism and structural criticism? Also, it's coming under our present discussion. That's a very fast discussion. So that is what is the main point of deconstruction theory? What is the main point of the deconstruction theory? Deconstruction challenges the way we interpret meaning. Remember, deconstruction challenges the way we interpret meaning. It defines the central meaning and marginalized meaning. It defines the central meaning and the marginalized meaning. Marginal meaning means treat a person, group, or concept as insignificant or peripheral. Marginalized meaning means, or marginalized meaning means, it treats a person, group, or concept as insignificant or peripheral. Okay, insignificant or peripheral. So that is, it describes or it defines the central meaning and the marginalized meaning of a work. Central meaning as well as the insignificant meaning. Understand? Marginalized meaning means insignificant meaning. So it defines the central.
Sir, in this line, marginalized, that means the word is insufficient or incapable.
Means insignificant, not so much necessary. Okay, unsuitable. So it defines the central meaning and marginalized meaning of a work, changes the position of those meanings. As you know, earlier I told the literary, its language is always ambiguous and unstable. Okay, the meaning of the deconstruction, the principal tenet or principle of a deconstruction is that language is always ambiguous and unstable. Okay, so that is, it defines the central meaning and marginalized meaning of a work, changes the position of those meanings, and therefore shows that the marginalized meanings could just as early become the central meaning, as easily, sorry, uh, and therefore shows that the marginalized meanings could just as easily become the central meaning. In this way, meanings is shown to be unstable. Did you get me? That's why it is called ambiguous. The question is, why is it ambiguous? Ambiguous means because here just we speak about or give emphasis on two, central meaning and marginalized meaning. Sometimes also the marginalized meanings could just as easily become the central meaning. In this way, meaning is shown to be unstable. Meaning is shown to be unstable. Meaning is shown to be unstable. Sure, that these were the basic points, principal points discussed by me now in short. So now let's start some other things. Roots of new criticism, and so now the next, that is called. Now you knew some lines about deconstruction. What is deconstruction? Who is the father of deconstruction? What are the main points of deconstruction? And what do we find in it? Okay, so it is made up of two parts. Okay, the text and its meaning. So the language is unstable and that is ambiguous. Okay, and everything you know now in short. So now let's start. Roots, its roots, new criticism and structuralism. New criticism and structuralism. Okay, so now see, I'm just dealing with you that the very fast discussion of deconstruction, its roots, that is new criticism uh, and structuralism. New criticism and structuralism. Literary criticism. The new criticism is a school of criticism. Remember, the new criticism is a school of criticism. New criticism is a the new criticism is a school of criticism that dominated in America, that dominated the new criticism is a school of criticism that dominated in America in the mid decades of the 20th century. It stresses upon close reading. Listen to me. It stresses upon means gives emphasis to close reading, particularly for poetry. It stresses upon close reading, particularly for poetry. This is because new criticism tends to discover how literature functions as a self-contained, how literature functions as a
Sir, can you please repeat that from new kid? It emphasizes in close reading in especially
yes. That it stresses upon close reading or emphasizes on close reading, particularly for poetry. This is because new criticism tends to discover how literature functions as a self-contained, self-referential aesthetic object. I'm discussing what is self-content, self-contained, self, uh, self-contained. Self-contained means of a thing, complete or having all that is needed in itself. Every section of the painting, self-contained means independent, very simple meaning. Self-contained means independent, not depending on or influenced by others. He is very so sentence is, he is very self-contained, means independent. Self-contained means simply you just understand independent. He is a very self-contained means independent. So that is new. This is because new criticism tends to discover how literature function as a self-contained, means independent, self-referential. Now just know the meaning of this word self-referential, especially or primarily of a literary or other creative work, making reference to itself, its author or creator or their other work. Remember, self-referential. Self-referential means primarily of a literary or other creative work, making reference making reference to itself, making reference to itself, its author or creator or their other works. Okay, means so at first you knew it is self-contained, means it is independent, and it gives us a clear-cut idea about the author or creator and their other works. Self-contained, self-referential, aesthetic object. Came to birth, the movement came to birth as a result of the publication of John Crew Ransom's book, The New Criticism. That movement came when it was coined when that writer, that man belonging to the New Criticism, who John Crew Ransom published a book, The New Criticism. Added to this publication was a great input of the English scholar. Great
Sir,
input.
please repeat that last line. Publication of John.
Publication, the movement came to be as a result of the publication of the John Crew Ransom's book, The New Criticism. John Ransom Crew has written a book called The New Criticism. Okay, so just we are getting all the points from his book, The New Criticism, by John Crew Ransom. I. Richards' Practical Criticism. Okay, John Crew Ransom's The New Criticism. I. Richards' Practical Criticism, last class. Okay, day after tomorrow. Okay. Sorry, last 2 days we are discussing. Okay, that is sure. What's the unit or block? Fourth block, perhaps. We are discussing about I. Richards. Okay,
Yes, sir.
sure.
Fourth block.
Fourth block. Practical criticism, the meaning of meaning. A prominent icon of this, important figure of this school was T.S. Eliot. In his critical, T.S. Eliot, in his critical essay, Tribulations and the Individual Talent, and Hamlet and his problems. New criticism is a philosophy of a literary interpretation. New criticism is a philosophy of literary interpretation that stresses on the importance of studying the text as a complete work of art. That stresses.
Sir, can you please repeat that line? New criticism.
New criticism is a philosophy of literary interpretation. Philosophy of literary interpretation that stresses on the importance of studying the text as a complete work of art. In a simple term, in a simple term, new criticism is the kind of movement that propagates the idea of art. In a simple term, new criticism is the kind of movement that propagates the idea of art for art's sake. art for art's sake. To them, art is complete in itself. Means to the new critics, art is art is art is complete in itself and do not need to dig deep on history. Do not need to dig deep in on history, philosophy, as to understand a piece of work. Sure. So many critics like Eliot, John Crow Ransom, as I told, Clint Brooks, and others wrote extensive essays to defend new criticism or address its problems. These writers were all particular theorists. John Crow Ransom talked about 6 things to exclude from criticism, some of which are moral studies, biographical
Sir, please
studies.
repeat, sir.
Sir, please repeat that line.
John Crow Ransom talked about 6 things to exclude from criticism, some of which are moral studies, biographical studies, and synopsis and paraphrase. These studies are vastly different than
Sir,
what
please one by one. Actually, I didn't get that point.
biographical studies and synopsis and paraphrase. These studies are vastly different than what new criticism seeks to learn by looking at the text itself. Okay, so now structuralism. Structuralism is nearly the opposite as it seeks to examine the structure of a work. Structuralism, every school of criticism is a reaction against the other schools. So new school of criticism, you knew what I just presented for you. So another school of criticism, that is called structuralism or structural school of criticism. Okay, that's why every school of criticism is a reaction. Every school of criticism is a reaction against the other schools. Structuralism started in France in the early 1950 by the French anthropologist.
Sir, when it is started, it started in France. In which year?
France in the early 1950 by the French anthropologist uh, Levi-Strauss and literary critic Roland Barthes. It is very difficult to define structuralism in a sentence. It is very difficult to define structuralism in a sentence, but its definition becomes a thing of necessity. Then we can say that structuralism is the belief that nothing can be understood in isolation. Then we can say that structuralism is the belief,
Then we can say again that, sir.
uh, but its definition becomes a thing of necessity. Then we can say that structuralism is the belief that Nothing can be understood in isolation. They must be seen in a larger structure. Unlike new criticism, unlike new criticism, which believed that meaning is found in the text, critics believed that meaning is found in the text. Meaning is found in the text. Structuralism opposed this notion, means idea. New critics believed that meaning is found in the text, but structuralism or structuralist opposed this notion, means idea, saying that meaning is always an attribute of things which is in human mind. Okay, so new that structuralism that is opposed this notion given by new critics that meaning is found in the text. They told say that meaning is always an attribute of things which is in human mind. For example, uh, okay, so meaning is as it is in a human mind.
Sir,
Uh,
this is what is the meaning of this line? That means structuralism oppose the new critics idea. They are
yes,
saying
yes,
that human thinking is that only the
in
meaning.
the mind.
Okay.
Okay, structuralism is incomplete without mentioning the structural language. Structuralism is incomplete without mentioning the structural language. Ferdinand de Saussure, okay, language Ferdinand de Saussure. He came up with the idea that language is a sign system. Who? Saussure. Ferdinand. Ferdinand de Saussure, he told that, or came up with the idea that came up with the idea that language is a sign system, and this sign system is made up of unchanging patterns and rules. Saussure, that de Saussure, Ferdinand de Saussure, uh, Ferdinand de Saussure, de Saussure just summarizes linguistic structure as follows. De Saussure summarizes linguistic structure as follows. One, the meaning we give to a word is purely arbitrary.
Sir, repeat that line again.
The meaning we give to a word, the meaning, the first that is structure, the meaning we give to a word is purely arbitrary and are maintained by convention. Two, the meaning we give to word, the meaning we give to word are relational. Relational. No
Sir, first
word.
line, can you please repeat that line? That purely
The
arbitrary.
arbitrary and are maintained by convention. The meaning, then second, the meaning we give to are relational, are relational. No word can be treated or defined in isolation. So it's a relational. It has a relation with the other. It has a relation with the other. So no word can be treated or defined in or isolation, or each word is dependent on its adjoining words. Getting my point or not? No word can be treated or defined in isolation, or each word is dependent on its adjoining words. On its adjoining words. For example, the word mansion, MANSION, in the following words means we can express the word mansion, MANSION, in the following words. What? Hovel, shed, hot, house, palace. Do you get me or not?
Yes,
For
sir.
example, the word mansion means a big palace. The word mansion, MANSION, in the following words. We can express the word mansion in the following words. Hovel, 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 shed, SHED, hot, HOT, house, palace can be defined as a dwelling place. Can be defined, just wait 2 minutes.
Sir, which book we have to follow?
Hello. Hello.
Okay, so now
Sir,
Join.
sir, sir, which books we have to follow?
A book, that's the your ignore referred books. Okay. Ignore, you get the material. Okay, produced by IGNO. IGNO has written topics on all that. Okay, MEG-1 also is written by
Everything
IGNO.
is not everything is not in that study materials. Yesterday's
Mm-hmm.
study feminism. I can't get a single word from that. That is only about the Kamala Das.
Uh-huh. That is IGNO. Okay, written by IGNO.
Written by
A
IGNO.
panel of professors uh, have produced that book. Okay, uh, from Delhi, Delhi publication. Okay, Delhi publication. So we are getting all the that blocks of image 1, image 2, image 1. That's a separate block. Image 2 separate block. Okay, image 3. Sure, we are getting all the books. That's written by the IGNO experts of Delhi.
Sir, kindly share your phone number, please.
93377
Thank
93377. What's your name? Your name?
Maitri Acharya from Nayagarh.
Noyaga. 93377
Again,
9494247. 93377
247.
94247.
Your name,
So
please.
you are the, are you in the group? Admin perhaps.
No, I am not in the group.
Yes, you might be in the group perhaps. Okay. 933 77 94247. Okay, sure. That is uh, the meaning we give to a word are relational. Relational. No word can be treated or defined in isolation, or each word is dependent on its adjoining words. As I told, each word is dependent on the adjoining word. Okay, another word. For example, the word mentioned in the following words, as earlier I told, hovel, shed, hut, house, mansion, palace, can be defined as a dwelling place that is bigger than a house. Uh, okay, bigger than a house. Okay, that's mansion, palace. Okay, bigger than a house. In a strict sense, in a strict sense, in a strict sense, structuralism is the program which stat, Levy, that is Stratus, borrowing from structural linguistics, try to include into anthropology. In a loose sense, structuralism may refer to the works of those authors. Works of those authors. In a loose
Excuse
sense,
me, sir.
structural.
Sir, in
In
a
a
strict
loose,
sense, structuralism is the program.
uh, in the program which Stratus means that's a writer borrowing from structural linguistics. Levi-Strauss, borrowing from the structural linguistic, tried to introduce into anthropology. In a loose sense, structuralism may refer to the works of those authors who deserve to be discussed when speaking about the style of approach which has manifest itself manifested itself in a different ways in different times and places.
Sir, I didn't get this line's meaning. Can you please explain again?
Um, that those authors who deserve to be discussed when speaking about. In a loose sense, structuralism may refer to the works of those authors, means those who have written or given or produced books on structuralism, that is Levi-Strauss and others. So, in a loose sense, structuralism may refer to the works of those authors who refer who deserve to be discussed when speaking about a style of approach. Means whenever they speak their own idea about or own statement about structuralism, so it should be dealt upon ways in different times and places, but which in the history of ideas generally can be traced back to certain writings. Okay,
So do you
so
mean to say that in structuralism, that you are saying that structuralism is borrowing the words from structural linguistics, but
uh,
here the writers should be praised for their work.
yes, so structuralists deal heavily with language and sounds. Remember, structuralists deal heavily with language and sounds. In Saussure's means D. Saussure, as earlier I told, the founding father of structuralism, or D. Saussure, with Saussure's work on structuralist theory, there are the concept of signs, signifiers, and the signified. There
No,
are
sir,
the
sir,
concept
structuralism, sir, deals with the
in Saussure's works on structuralist theory. In Saussure's works on structuralist theory, there are the concept of signs, signifiers, and the signified. We'll discuss what is signifier and what is signified. Just listen what is signifier and what is signified. Giving you the idea about signifier and signified. Just listen. Uh, what is signifier and signified by Saussure? Saussure distinguished between the concept of a signifier and signified. Listen, the signifier is the signifier, signifier is the physical form of the sign. I'll give you examples now. The signifier is the physical form of the sign, such as an image, word, or such as the image, word, or sound. While the signifier is the concept of meaning associated with the signifier. Again, revealing Saussure distinguished between the concept of signifier and signified. The signifier is the signifier is the uh, physical form of sign, such as an image, word, or sound, while the signified is the concept of a meaning associated with the signifier. Just I'm giving you the example, so it will be better to you. Uh, The signifier is the mental image of the sound. As I told you now, the signifier is the mental image of the sound. If I say the word ice cream, listen to it. The signifier is the mental image of the word. Mental image. Take my water. The signifier is the mental image of the sound. Mental image of the sound. If I say the word ice cream, if I say the word ice cream, the signifier is the concept of the mental image. If I say the word ice cream, someone is bound to imagine a picture of ice cream. Yes or no? If I say the
Yes, sir.
word,
Yes, sir.
if I say the word ice cream, someone is bound to imagine a picture of ice cream. Yes. The signifier is the concept of the mental image. The signifier, understand? Signifier is the mental image of the sound. The signifier is the mental image of the sound. If I say the word ice cream, someone is bound to imagine a picture of the ice cream. The signifier is the concept of the mental image. What? That is in picturing ice cream. Picturing ice cream. One immediately thinks it's cold, sweet, has various flavors, melts in the sun, etc. The term shine is the actual word, ice cream. Did you get me now? The term shine is the actual word, ice cream. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes. The term shine is the actual word ice cream. Okay. Structural linguist and structural anthropology, structural linguist and structural anthropology seek to use these concepts to understand the commonalities between, means common qualities between the underlying roots of language and culture.
Sir, please repeat that line. The structural linguist and the structural
Structural
anthropologist.
linguists and structural anthropologists, logy. Linguistics, structural linguistic, not linguist, linguistics and structural anthropology seek to use these concepts to understand the commonalities between the underlying roots of language and culture. These theories, which that new criticism theory and structuralism theory, these theories have two main similarities. These theories have two main similarities. They both focus on formal elements of the text. They both focus on they both focus on formal elements of the text.
Sir, formal elements of text means?
As usual elements, formal, okay. They both focus on the formal elements of the text. Uh, uh, they seek to find the underlying elements that is prevalent, the underlying elements within the text, means the meanings that is prevalent in the text or present in the text. They seek to find underlying meanings, elements within the text and bring them into the light and bring them into the light. While formalism seek out irony and paradox. While formalism seek out irony and irony means sarcasm in a humorous or emphatic effect. Paradox means a seemingly absurd or contradictory statement or proposition which, when investigated, may prove to be well founded or true.
Sir, can you please repeat that line? Bring them in light and formalism.
Bring them into the light, while formalism seek out irony and paradox, which are unique to that text. Structuralism examines deeper units in the text. Structuralism examines deeper units in the text, but it doesn't always stay within the confines of a single literary work. New criticism or formalism, the same. New criticism or formalism totally throws the author out.
Excuse me,
Remember,
sir. Sir, structuralism, deeper meaning that you said now, I didn't get that. Can you please repeat that line?
uh, structuralism examines deeper units in the text, deeper units in the text, but it doesn't always stay within the confines of a single literary work. Doesn't stay within the confines of a single literary work. New criticism or formalism totally throws the author out of the picture and sticks close to the text as the only source for analysis. Author, as a T.S. Eliot writes, authors, many authors, and particularly T.S. Eliot writes, are dead and are therefore no use to the text. Means author. We shouldn't interpret about the author. Other authors, and particularly T.S. Eliot writes, who that formalism are dead and therefore no use to the text. Structuralists do not care about the author. Structuralists do not care about the author because they seek common points with smaller points. They seek common points with smaller points. Okay. As earlier I told, some insignificant things sometimes become significant, becomes very necessary. So that some common points with smaller units like plot, language, etc., that are common throughout literature and its genres, means times. So,
Sir,
one things,
you mean to say that structuralism, that means it is only showing the deeper meaning, huh?
yes,
Not to stay
yes,
with the content. But
yes,
news criticism is sticks with the content, with the
yes.
within the okay.
Uh, so, because many things are there also for discussion, uh, deconstruction theory. Okay. So now deconstruction theory. um, a deconstruction form of a philosophical literary deconstruction form of philosophical and literary analysis derived mainly from work begun in the 1960 uh, by the French philosopher Jacques Derrida that questions are fundamental
Sir, please repeat
conceptual
that line. Deconstruction form of philosophical in.
deconstruction form of philosophical and literary analysis derived mainly from the work began in 1960 by the French philosopher Jacques Derrida. Jacques Derrida, as is the founding father of, okay. Uh, so Derrida, through a close examination of the language and logic of a philosophical and literary text, gave many things in literature. In 1970, the term was applied to mainly Derrida, Paul D. Mann, another linguist, J. Hills, Miller, and Barbara Johnson, among other scholars. Not only Derrida, okay, Derrida is the founding father of deconstruction, but besides also, we come across some other scholars belonging to that genre. That who are they? That's Paul D. Mann, J. Hills Miller, and Barbara Johnson. Okay, also other scholars. Deconstruction involves the close reading of text. Deconstruction involves Deconstruction involves the close reading of a text in order to demonstrate that any given text has
Sir, in order to demonstrate.
in order to demonstrate that any given text has irreconcilably contradictory meanings rather than being a unified logical whole. Deconstruction, as earlier I told, so it's the language of deconstruction is ambiguous and unstable. Ambiguous and unstable. The same thing here I'm repeating. Okay. Rather than being a unified logical whole. Deconstruction is not a dismantling of the structure of a text, but a demonstration that it has already dismantled itself. Derrida, who coined the term deconstruction, Derrida, who coined the term deconstruction, argues that in Western culture, argues that in Western culture, people tend to think and express their thoughts in terms of binary oppositions.
Sir, please repeat that. In Western culture, people.
Mm, telling in terms of people tend to think and express their thoughts in binary oppositions. Binary mean two things: binary oppositions. That is white, black, white, masculine, feminine, cause, effect, conscious, unconscious. usually speak in these ways: presence, absence. Okay. Derrida suggests that oppositions means binary double meaning. Binary means two meanings. As earlier I told the meaning of the word binary. Binary means composed relating to, composed of involving two meanings. Involving two meanings. Uh, May at the same time we say masculine, feminine. If the cause, then what will be its effect? Conscious and unconscious. Okay, sure. Derrida suggests these oppositions are hierarchies in miniature, containing one term that Western culture views as positive or superior, and another considered negative or inferior. Even if
Sir, please
only
repeat that line.
one term that Western culture views as positive or superior, and another considered negative or inferior, even if only slightly so. Though, sorry, through deconstruction, through through deconstruction, Derrida aims to erase the boundary between. Through deconstruction, Derrida aims to erase means blot out the boundary between binary oppositions, and to do so in such a way, and to
Sir,
do
the
so in
boundary
binary oppositions means two meanings, binary oppositions, and to do so in such a way, and to do so in such a way that the hierarchy implied implied by the opposition is thrown into questions. Origins of deconstruction can be found in Derrida's book writing. Origin of a deconstruction can be found in Jacques Derrida's books Writing and the Difference, 1967. Okay, Derrida has written a book in 1967 entitled as Writing and Difference, and of Grammatology, 1967. Another the same in the same year, two books just published, and the lecture titled Structure, Shine and Play in the Discourse of Human Sciences. Means Derrida has written a book uh, entitled as Structure, Shine and Play in the Discourse of Human Sciences, which Derrida gave at Johns Hopkins University in a 1966 symposium. Means Derrida just presented that writing.
Sir, on which year Derrida represented their book?
1966. Before we delve into the meaning, means go deep into the meaning of deconstruction. Before we delve into the meaning of deconstruction, here are some key terms. Here are some key terms that will make understanding deconstruction slightly easier. If I now just present before you these key points, so it will make you easier so as to understand this theory, that is deconstruction theory. Just now explaining what are the key points. So tomorrow to start which block? Do you know which block? That's the last block.
The last block is contemporary literary theory.
Contemporary literary theory. Yes. Tomorrow will be our last block and last talk. Last block and also last talk.
Sir, after tomorrow's class, can you provide us the notes of this critical literature?
Okay. I will try. I will write down and give. Okay. I will
Sir,
write down.
as well as if possible, then please provide us the probable questions.
Okay. Also, well, I will try. I will collect everything. I'll collect everything, and it may take some time, but I will give you. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Hello, sir.
I will give you. I'll give
Hello,
you. Do you want,
sir. Will you
hello.
provide this in WhatsApp groups?
Okay. Got some news.
Thank you, sir.
Now, you try. You also collect, but I will give you after collecting. Uh, that what you told your questions and other things from different materials. I am providing you in your group.
Sir, there is one thing I want to ask you that this type of theories are vast, very vast, and having a very difficult words also that to remember. Is it possible that we can elaborate these points with our own words? Is that okay with?
Yes. Also, right. Also. If
Okay,
it
sir.
is possible, then you can do it.
Thank you,
You
sir.
can okay. Present your own lines also. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Also, it is relevant. If you are writing of your own, also it is relevant.
Excuse me, sir.
Now, hello.
Excuse me, sir. Which units are you taught this today?
Unit, that's the block, seventh block. It is a
Okay, okay.
two units. Okay, seventh block, that is MEG-5 seventh block, and topic is deconstruction theory. Topic
Okay,
is
thank you.
uh,
Sir,
hello,
hello. Sir,
hello.
will you start the unit 3 tomorrow or you start the block 8?
Block 8. That is the last block. Last block. Okay,
Sir,
last
sir, the
to
remaining parts.
conclude.
Sir, the remaining parts of block 7.
The last block, that is the block 8, that is contemporary literary theory, last block.
Ji, sir.
Well, so now start our discussion. So now just listen some important terms that will make understanding reconstruction slightly easier. At first is formalism. Formalism means that is new criticism. Formalism is also known as new criticism. Formalism is a critical approach that focuses on the form of a text. Formalism is a critical approach that focuses on the form of a text instead of its content. On the form of a text instead of its content, and it is content and its relationship to the outside world. Formalism or new criticism means it's a critical approach that focuses on the form of a text instead of its content and its relationship to the outside world. Then structuralism. It was a broader philosophy and critical approach. It was a broader philosophy and critical approach that emerged in the early 20th century. The literary theory, structuralism, focused on the structural and linguistic aspects of a text.
Sir, please
Literary
repeat that structuralism.
structuralism focused on the structural and linguistic aspects of a text rather than what is represented.
Sir,
Okay.
what is the meaning of linguistic aspect? That means, can you please give us a short example so to understand?
Linguistic aspects means that linguistic that aspects of the concepts that we find in a language. Okay, that is the figures of speech, that is the simile, metaphor, and other symbols, signs, signifier, signified. Okay, as earlier I told you, structuralism, signifier, signified, understand other things.
Yes,
These are
sir.
the linguistic aspects in structuralism. Okay, ambiguity, irony, tension, ambiguity, etc. Okay, irony, paradox.
Sir, in simple language, like in a sentence that it is showing about, not showing about the content, the plot, but it is showing about the how the sentence is making grammatically. Is that correct?
Yes. So now, binary oppositions. You knew some lines about formalism, or that is new criticism. They knew some lines about structuralism. So now binary opposition. These are the terms, key terms that will make understanding deconstruction slightly easier. Then binary oppositions are two concepts that are set as opposites of each other. Understand? Binary oppositions are two concepts, as I told earlier, two concepts that are set as opposites of each other. Opposites of each other. For example, light and dark, man and woman, nature and culture, feminine and masculine. Do you get me?
Yes,
Opposite.
sir.
Yeah. As last class I told, sorry, today I told you, okay, cause and effect, white and black, okay, conscious and subconscious, presence and absence. Do you get me? So that is called binary oppositions. Are two concepts that are set as opposites of each other. Black and white color means color. Two words stands as opposite to each other. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And masculine, feminine. Okay. Um,
There are such type of antonyms that in English grammar.
that its species. So okay, cause and effect. Well, sure. For example, light and dark, man and woman, nature and culture, black and white, cause and effect. Okay, so on and so forth. Then hierarchy. Then hierarchy is a system in which, so it's a hierarchy system. Hierarchy means is a system in which things or people are organized into different levels. So it's a system in which things or people are organized into different levels based on their status or importance. Deconstruction relies on concepts of structural linguistics. Deconstruction relies heavily on the concepts of structural linguistics. Then structural linguistics
Sir, deconstruction relies on.
relies on concepts of structural linguistics. Structural linguistics. Then structural linguistics. Structural linguistics is a branch of linguistics. It is a branch of linguistics that treats language that treats language. Structural linguistics is a branch of linguistics that treats language as a system of interconnected units. Then semiotics. Semiotics is the study of how meaning is generated during the process of communication.
The branch of
Branch of linguistics that treats language as a system of interconnected unit. Language is interconnected means it can't be used in isolation. As earlier I told, language that we write, so it's called interconnected. One one word is just written with another adjoining word. Okay, so it can't be written in isolation. It can be written in isolation. That's why it is the interconnected units, system of interconnected units. Then semiotics. Then semiotics. It is a study of how meaning is generated during the process of communication. Semiotics, that is the study of how meaning is the study of how meaning is generated during the processes of communication. Then sign. Sign means we are getting two words coming under sign, signifier and signified. I already told you prior to that what is signifier and what is signified.
yes,
A sign,
signifier is the mental image.
a sign is the basic unit of communication. A sign is the basic image of communication. A sign is the basic unit of communication that refers to a sign is the basic unit of communication that refers to anything, word, image, or symbol that carries a meaning. Carries a meaning. In structural linguistics, the sign is made of a signifier and a signified. In structural linguistics, okay, in structural linguistics, the sign is made of a signifier and a already you have known what is signifier and signified. Okay. So just again giving a clear idea about signifier signified. A signifier is a verbal or graphic symbol or code that represents an idea or an object. A signifier is a verbal or graphic symbol or a code that represents an idea or an object. For example, a word or an image. Then signified. Signified, it is the object or concept the signifier tries to represent. Okay. So signified, then phonocentrism. These are the key terms for better understanding about deconstruction. You know some others now, that is formalism, structuralism, binary oppositions, hierarchy, structural linguistics, semiotics is a study of how meaning is generated during the process of communication, sign, then signifier, signified, then phonocentrism. Phonocentrism means the idea that speech or a sound is superior to the written word. Phonocentrism means the idea that speech or sound is superior to the written word. Then logocentrism derived from the Greek word logos, derived from the Greek word logos, which means word or region. Word or region. Logocentrism, derived from the Greek word logos, which means word or origin, refers to the inclination in Western thought to privilege the word over what it stands for.
Sir, repeat that again. Refer to the inclination.
In Western thought to privilege the word over what it stands for. Then phallogocentrism. Then phallogocentrism. Phallogocentrism is a new word created by Derrida. Phallogocentrism is a new word created by Derrida to describe the tendency to privilege masculinity in the understanding of social to understanding of society and meaning. Phallogocentrism, again repeating, is a new word created by Derrida to describe the tendency to privilege masculinity in the understanding of society and meaning. Then metaphysics. These are the key points. Metaphysics is a branch of physics. Metaphysics is a branch of physics. Uh, Metaphysics is a branch of physics that studies the nature of reality. Metaphysics is a branch of physics that studies the nature of reality and the relationship between different aspects of life. And the relationship between different aspects of life, such as knowledge, perception, identity, existence, and time.
Sir, different aspects of life, that means life's experience.
Huh. Different aspects of life, such as knowledge, perception, identity, existence, and time. So, uh, deconstruction is sometimes described as deconstruction is sometimes described as bringing a literary approach to philosophy, a way of reading philosophical texts, a way of reading philosophical text like
Sir,
literature.
yes, can
You
you please slowly tell that na deconstruction
What?
describe.
Okay. Deconstruction is sometimes described as bringing a literary approach to philosophy, bringing a bringing a literary approach to philosophy, a way of reading a way of reading philosophical texts like literature using methods of literary analysis. Irrespective of how accurate this view of this deconstruction is, Derrida is now a prominent figure in literary analysis and criticism itself. So now binary, what is binary oppositions? What is binary oppositions? So also we knew a little bit idea about deconstruction. What is binary oppositions? Binary opposition is a concept that originated in structuralism, a critical theory that can be applied to a variety of disciplines like sociology and anthropology, like sociology and anthropology.
Sir, binary opposition, please tell again.
Binary oppositions is a concept that originated in structuralism, came from structuralism, a critical theory that can be applied to a variety of disciplines like sociology and anthropology. The binary opposition definition as it is understood in structuralism, the binary opposition definition as it is understood in structuralism is the practice of placing two ideas or concepts in opposing categories in order to study how they interact with and function in relation to one another. Understand? The binary opposition definition as it is understood in structuralism is the practice of placing two ideas or concepts in opposing categories in order to study how they with and interact with and function in relation to one another. It is common for people to create binary oppositions in real life, which can lead to societal problems of exclusion and oppression. But the concept can also be applied to literature in literary cases.
Sir, I didn't get this point that practice the opposite words and interact. That means that in binary opposition, you said that opposite words they are indicating the opposite words which are used in
Yes,
several
yes,
studies.
yes, yes. Binary opposition examples. There are hundreds of examples of binaries in literature. There are hundreds of examples of binaries, means binary principle in literature that often serve different purposes. So what are the different purposes? Sometimes these binary oppositions examples are gradually considered. So there are hundreds of examples of binaries in literature that often serve different purposes. Sometimes these binary opposition examples are gradually deconstructed to show the harm of binary thinking. Binary thinking. While other times binaries serve to enforce a good guys versus bad guys. Good guys versus bad guys. Dynamic. Binary opposition is a way to create conflict. Binary opposition is a way to create conflict between characters or groups and allow writers to delve into and allow the writers to drive the plot forward. Binary opposition means placing two ideas or groups of people. Binary opposition means placing two ideas or groups of people in opposing categories as a way to understand their relationship to each other. Means placing two ideas or groups of people in opposing categories as a way to understand their relationship to each other. The term was originally connected. The term was originally connect, coined in structuralism, but it is relevant to literature as well.
Sir, binary opposition, its main motto is that it can be used in literature also. You are saying
Yes,
that? Okay, sir.
yes. The term was originally coined in structuralism, but it is relevant to literature as well. Relevant to literature as well. Binary thinking is the tendency. Binary thinking is the tendency to look at complex issues in a black and white way. Remember, this is the most important points. So within this, we'll conclude. Binary thinking, binary thinking is the tendency to look at complex issues in a black and white way without leaving room to understand nuance. This can be dangerous because it can make it harder for people to see each other as complex human beings.
Sir, here it is meaning that black and white, that means positive and negative.
Yes, leaving from room to understand, this can be dangerous because it can make it harder for people to see each other as complex human beings and to understand other perspectives. Binary categorizations, binary categorizations can make people fear those they perceive as different from them and can also lead some perspective to discriminate against others that they deem inferior. Okay, it's that's short expression about binary. Okay, so that's all. Um, and some other poems are there about Wordsworth and Donne also canonization and Donne's that the another poem also it is here mentioned. But as there's no time now to discuss, so let's within this just I'm going to conclude today's discussion, that is reconstruction, and tomorrow to start, that is what's tomorrow to start.
Contemporary
Yes, yes,
tradition.
yes. Contemporary literary theory. Contemporary. Also here, uh, had you given some more time, would have taught Wordsworth important poem. Also, it is mentioned in the syllabus in this present block, and Donne's canonization. Okay, two poems. The that is summary of Donne's canonization and the summary of Wordsworth. Afterthought, afterthought, yes, afterthought. Two poems are here mentioned. So no time is there. So if then I'll provide you notes. And tomorrow to start contemporary literary theory. Okay, so till that.
Okay,
Bye.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Hello, Tejas Kumar madam. Can you send your note to this group?
She already vanished, right?
Yes. Anyone in this group who is better known which language? Odia, Hindi, or English?
Brother, most of us are Odia and rest are outside of Odisha.
ତୁମେ ଓଡିଆ ତ?
ମୁଁ ଭାଇ ପିଓର ଓଡିଆ।
ଜଣା ପଡୁଛି ତୁମ କଥାରୁ ଜଣା ପଡୁଛି ବା।
ତମର କୋଉଟା ଭାଇ?
ଆମର ବା କେନ୍ଦୁଝର।
ହଁ କେନ୍ଦୁଝର। ଆମେ ରିସେଣ୍ଟଲି ଏବେ କେନ୍ଦୁଝର ବୁଲିବାକୁ ଯାଇଥିଲୁ।
ଓହୋ, ଆପଣଙ୍କଟା କୋଉଠି କି?
ଆମର ହଉଛି ନୟାଗଡ଼।
ଓହୋ, ନୟାଗଡ଼ ଡିଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକ୍ଟ।
ହୁଁ। ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ନୃସିଂହ ସାର୍ ଯୋଉ ଲେକ୍ଚର ସବୁ ଦଉଥିଲେ
ହୁଁ।
ସେ ଆମର ଟୋଟାଲ କାଲି କ୍ଲାସ ସରିଲା ପରେ ସେ ନୋଟ୍ ସବୁ ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ କରିବେ।
ନା କ୍ଲାସ ଟା ତମକୁ କେମିତି କଣ ଲାଗୁଛି? ମତେ ବହୁତ ବୋରିଂ ଲାଗୁଛି।
ମାନେ ବୋରିଂ ସାରଙ୍କ ଲେକ୍ଚର ତ ମତେ ଭଲ ଲାଗୁଛି, କିନ୍ତୁ ବାରମ୍ବାର ଯୋଉ କୋଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ପଚାରୁଛନ୍ତି ସେଇଟା ମତେ ବେଶୀ ଇରିଟେଟ୍ ଲାଗୁଛି। କାରଣ ଯଦି ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ଆଜି ସାର୍ ମାନେ କୋର୍ସ ହିଁ କମ୍ପ୍ଲିଟ୍ କରିପାରିଲେନି। କାଲି ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି କାଲି କୋର୍ସ ପୁରା ମାନେ କମ୍ପ୍ଲିଟ୍ ହେଇଥିଲା ଭଲସେ। 4ଟା 5ଟା ୟୁନିଟ୍ ପୁରା ଆରାମସେ କମ୍ପ୍ଲିଟ୍ ହେଇଥିଲା।
ଯୋଉ ତେଜସ୍ କୁମାର ଯୋଉ ନାହାନ୍ତି ନା, ଯୋଉ ଝିଅ ନା ସେ ମ୍ୟାଡାମ ଜଣେ, ସେଇ ବହୁତ କୋଶ୍ଚେନ କରୁଛନ୍ତି।
ମାନେ ଡାଉଟ୍ ତ ଅବଭିୟସଲି ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କର ରହିବ ଯେମିତି ହେଲେ, କାରଣ ଆଉ ଯେହେତୁ ସାର୍ ନିଜ ଲେକ୍ଚର ସରିଲା ପରେ ହିଁ ତମେ ନିଜ ଡାଉଟ୍ ପଚାର ନାଇଁ ଯାହା ଅଛି। କିନ୍ତୁ ଯଦି 80-90 ପିଲା ଜଏନ୍ ହଉଛନ୍ତି, ସମସ୍ତେ ନିଜ ଡାଉଟ୍ ପଚାରିବେ ତ ମାନେ 2.5 ଘଣ୍ଟାର କ୍ଲାସ୍ ତ ଟୋଟାଲ କମ୍ପ୍ଲିଟ୍ ହିଁ ହେଇପାରିବନି। ଖାଲି ଡାଉଟ୍ରେ ତ ଯିବ, ସାର୍ ପଢେଇବେ କଣ? ମୁଁ ସେତେବେଳେ ସେଥିପାଇଁ ସାଇଲେଣ୍ଟ ଥିଲି। ମୁଁ ସାରଙ୍କୁ ବି ମାନେ ଟୋଟାଲି କିଛି କୋଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ବି ପଚାରିନି। ମଝିରେ ଖାଲି ସାରଙ୍କୁ କୋଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ପଚାରିଲି, ସାର୍ ନୋଟ୍ ଯୋଉ କହିଲେ ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ୍ କରିବେ ବୋଲି। ଆଉ ସାର୍ କହିଲେ ହ୍ୱାଟ୍ସଆପ୍ ଗ୍ରୁପରେ ମୁଁ ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ୍ କରିଦେବି ବୋଲି କହିଲେ।
ଯୋଉ ତେଜସ୍ କୁମାର ମ୍ୟାଡାମ ଯୋଉ ଅଛନ୍ତି, ସିଏ 2 ମିନିଟରେ ଥରେ, 1 ମିନିଟରେ ଥରେ କୋଶ୍ଚେନ ମାନେ ପଚାରୁଛନ୍ତି, ଏଇଟା ଲେଖିନି କୁହ ଆଉ ଥରେ। ସେ କଣ ଜାଣି
ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ଜଣେ ଲେଖିବାକୁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କଲେ ଟୋଟାଲି ହିଁ ଲେଖିପାରିବ ନାହିଁ। କାରଣ ଲାଷ୍ଟ 3ଟା କ୍ଲାସରେ ବହୁତ ଆଟେଣ୍ଡ କରିଛି, ବହୁତ ହାର୍ଡ ବି ସ୍ପିଡ୍ କରିଛି। କାରଣ ସେଇ ୱାର୍ଡର ଯୋଉ ଭଳିଆ ମାନେ ଏକ ତ ଫାଷ୍ଟ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ସ୍ପେଲିଂ ମିଷ୍ଟେକ୍ ହବ। ପୁଣି ସାର୍ ଯୋଉ ସ୍ପିଡରେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି, ତମେ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ଆକୁରେଟ୍ ୱାର୍ଡର ସବୁ କ୍ୟାପଚର ହିଁ କରିପାରିବନି।
ମୁଁ କହିଲି କି ବେଟର ହବ ନହେଲେ ସ୍କ୍ରିନ୍ ରେକର୍ଡିଂ କରିଦେବେ, ଆହୁରି ବେଟର ହବ।
ନାଇଁ ସ୍କ୍ରିନ୍ ରେକର୍ଡିଂ କଲେ ଭଏସ୍ ଟୋଟାଲ ଶୁଭାଯିବନି, କାରଣ ଏଇ କଥାର ସବୁ ଅଲରେଡି ରେକର୍ଡ ହିଁ ହଉଛି।
ଓହୋ।
ସ୍କ୍ରିନ୍ ରେକର୍ଡିଂ ହବନି କି
ଭାଇ
ଅଡିଓ
ଆପଣଙ୍କର
ମାନେ ଅଡିଓ ରେକର୍ଡିଂ।
ପ୍ରୋଗ୍ରାମ ଗୁଡା କଣ କହିବେ କି? ଏମିଜି ପ୍ରୋଗ୍ରାମ ଗୁଡା।
ମୋର ହଉଛି MEG-5, 7, 10, 14।
ଓ ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଇୟରରେ?
ହଁ ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ
ଆପଣ
ଇୟର ତମର?
ଆପଣ ଆପଣ ଭଲ ଇଜି ଟପିକ ଟା ରଖିଛନ୍ତି। ମୁଁ ଫସିଗଲି ଆଉ। ମୁଁ 1 2 3 4 ରଖିଥିଲି ଆଉ। ନା 1 2 3 5।
1 2 3 5।
ହୁଁ।
ହୁଁ।
ସେ ବ୍ରିଟିଶ ଡ୍ରାମା, ବ୍ରିଟିଶ ନୋବେଲ, ଏଇଟା କାହିଁ କହୁନି ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ୍ ଲିଟରେଚର। କିଏ ଜଣେ କହିଲେ କଣ?
ଫସିବେ କଣ? କିଛି
ମୁଁ
ଫସିବାର
କହି
ନାହିଁ ଆପଣ।
ହ୍ୟାଲୋ।
ଆପଣ
ନା ନା
ଗ୍ରାଜୁଏସନ
ମୁଁ
ହ୍ୟାଲୋ
କହିଲି କି
ହଁ କୁହ କ୍ଷୀରୋଦ ଭାଇ, କୁହ କଣ କହୁଛ?
ମୁଁ କହିଲି କି ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଫସିବାରେ କିଛି ନାହିଁ। ଯିଏ ଯୋଉ ସବଜେକ୍ଟ କୋड ରଖିବ, ତାର ସେଇଟା ଜାଣିଥିବ ଟିକେ ଅଧେ, କିମ୍ବା ଯଦି ନ ଜାଣିଥିବ ସେ ଜାଣିବାକୁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରିକି ପଢାପଢି କରିବ ଆଉ କଣ। ଆଉ
ଭାଇ
ଫସିବ କଣ? ସବୁ ତ ସମାନ ଆଉ।
ନା
ଆପଣ
ଦେଖ
ଯଦି
ନା
ଗ୍ରାଜୁଏସନରେ
ସେ
ବ୍ରିଟିଶ
ବ୍ରିଟିଶ
ନୋବେଲ
ନୋବେଲ
ଡ୍ରାମା
ଟା
ଏଗୁଡା ପଢିଥିବେ ଯଦି ଏବେ
ନା
କରିପାରିବେ,
ନା
ଆପଣ ସବୁ
ପଢିଛି ଯେ,
ଜାଣିନାହାନ୍ତି।
ସେ ଶୁଣ ନା ନା ସେଇ ଡ୍ରାମା ନୋବେଲ ଟା ଟିକେ କଷ୍ଟ ହବ, ବାସ୍ ପଢିଦେଲେ ହବ, କିନ୍ତୁ ଟିକେ କଷ୍ଟ ପରିଶ୍ରମ କରତେ ପଡିବ। ଏହା ହଉଛି କଥା।
ଏମଏ ମାନେ ହିଁ କଷ୍ଟ। ଏମଏ ମାନେ ହିଁ ତମେ ଡିଗ୍ରୀ କରିବା ମାନେ ତମେ ଢେର ପାଠ ଜାଣିବାର ଅଛି। ବହୁତ ତମର ପଟେନସିଆଲ ଟା ବହୁତ ଅଧିକା ରହିଲେ ଯାଇକି ତମେ ପିଜି କରିପାରିବ ନା। ପିଜି ମାନେ ଅନର୍ସ ଉପରକୁ ପିଜି, ଅନର୍ସ ବିଏ ଅନର୍ସ ପରେ ପିଜି, ତାମାନେ ଏଇଟା ଛୋଟ କଥା କି ଆଉ? ତେଣୁ ସେ
ତମର
ଅନୁସାରେ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ
ଅନର୍ସ ଭାଇ
ଦେଖିବାକୁ
ତମେ କଣ
ପଡିବ।
ନେଇଥିଲ? ମାନେ ଗ୍ରାଜୁଏସନ ତମର ଇଂଲିଶ?
ମୋର ବିଏସି ପଢିଥିଲି ମୁଁ। ବିଏସି ପରେ କରୁଛି ଆଉ।
ମୋର ବି ବିଏସସି ଜୁଲୋଜି ଅନର୍ସ। ଜୁଲୋଜି ଅନର୍ସ ପରେ ମୁଁ ଇଂଲିଶ ଜଏନ୍ କଲି
ହୁଁ ହୁଁ।
ପିଜି।
ହଁ ଆମେ ଚାକିରି ବାକିରି କରି ପରେ କରୁଛୁ ଆଉ। ଏବେ ବହୁତ ଏଜ୍ ହେଇଗଲାଣି ଆମର।
ଯେହେତୁ
ଜୁଲୋଜି ଅନର୍ସ ବା ଇଗ୍ନୋର ନାହିଁ।
କଣ କହିଲ ଭାଇ?
ନା ସେ କଲେଜରେ
ମୁଁ
କରିଛି ନା
କହିଲି ଜୁଲୋଜି ଅନର୍ସ ରେ ଇଗ୍ନୋର ବା ନାହିଁ, କରିବ କେମିତି ଆଡମିସନ
ରେଗୁଲାର
ଜୁଲୋଜିରେ?
ପଢିଛି ସେ କଲେଜରେ ରେଗୁଲାର ପଢିଛି ସେ।
ନାଇଁ ମୋର ବିଏସସି ହଉଛି ଜୁଲୋଜି ଅନର୍ସ।
ହଁ ରେଗୁଲାର ମୋଡରେ ପଢିଛି
ନାଇଁ ନାଇଁ
ଏବେ।
ମୁଁ କଣ କହୁଛି କହନି,
ହଁ
ନା ନା ମୋ କହିବା କଥା କି ଡିଷ୍ଟାନ୍ସ ମୋଡରେ ଜୁଲୋଜି ଅନର୍ସ ରେ ଇଗ୍ନୋର ନାହିଁ ମାନେ ପିଜି।
ନା
କିନ୍ତୁ
ନା ନାହିଁ ନାହିଁ।
ବହୁତ ଦେଖ ଭାଇ ବହୁତ ଜଲ୍ଦି ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ମ୍ୟାଥମେଟିକ୍ସ ଅଲରେଡି ଆଡ୍ ହେଇସାରିଲାଣି ଇଗ୍ନୋରେ। ମ୍ୟାଥମେଟିକ୍ସ କି ଫିଜିକ୍ସ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଜୁଲୋଜି ନେକ୍ସଟ ସେକ୍ସନ ଟୋଟାଲ ଆଡ୍ ହେଇଯିବ। ଜୁଲୋଜି ଚାହିଁଲେ ବି ଜଣେ ପିଜି କରିପାରିବେ ମାନେ ଇଗ୍ନୋରେ ଇଂଲିଶ ଯୋଉ ଭଳିଆ ହଉଛି। ଏବେ ମ୍ୟାଥ କୁ ଫିଜିକ୍ସ ଅଲରେଡି ଆଡ୍ କରିଦେଲାଣି ଲାଷ୍ଟ ସେକ୍ସନ ଠୁ ଆଡ୍ କରିଦେଲା। ଆଉ
ଫିଜିକ୍ସ
ଜୁଲୋଜି
ଇଗ୍ନୋଟା
ଆଡ୍
ସେମିଷ୍ଟାର
କରିନି।
ନା ନା ଇଗ୍ନୋଟା ଯଦି 6 ମାସ ଥରେ ଏକ୍ଜାମ ହୁଅନ୍ତା ସେମିଷ୍ଟାର ୱାଇ ଟିକେ ଆମକୁ ବହୁତ ଇଜି ହୁଅନ୍ତା, କିନ୍ତୁ ଯେହେତୁ ଇୟରଲି ଏକ୍ଜାମ ହଉଛି ଆଉ ଟିକେ ପରିଶ୍ରମ ହାର୍ଡ କରତେ ପଡିବ, ଏଇଆ ହଉଛି କଥା ଆଉ।
ବାକି ଏତିକି ରେଗୁଲାର କ୍ଲାସ ସହିତ ନୋଟ ଯଦି ଭଲସେ ଦେଖିବ ଅବଶ୍ୟ ୟୁଟ୍ୟୁବରେ ତ ବହୁତ ସାରା କ୍ଲାସେସ୍ ହିଁ ଆସୁଛି।
ଇଗ୍ନୋର ବୁକ୍ ଗୁଡା ପଠଉନି କି ଷ୍ଟଡି ମେଟେରିଆଲ୍ସ ଗୁଡା ବହୁତ ଛୋଟ ଛୋଟ ଅକ୍ଷରରେ ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି। ମାନେ ଆମ
ହଁ
ଭଳିଆ ଏଜେଡ ଲୋକ ଗୁଡା
ନା ନା
ପଢିବାକୁ ବହୁତ
ସେ
ଛୋଟ
ଷ୍ଟଡି
ଅକ୍ଷର ତ
ମେଟେରିଆଲ କଥା ନୁହଁ ନା,
ଟିକେ
ଶୁଣ
ଅସୁବିଧା
ଶୁଣ
ହଉଛି।
ସେ ଷ୍ଟଡି ମେଟେରିଆଲ ଯୋଉ ଆସୁଛି ସେ ନୃସିଂହ ସାରଙ୍କୁ ନା
ହୁଁ
ନୃସିଂହ ସାର୍ ଆଉ ଜଣେ କିଏ ରାଉତ ସାର୍ ଅଛନ୍ତି ତାଙ୍କୁ ପଚାରୁଥିଲି, ସେ କହିଲେ କି ସେ
ହୁଁ
ଷ୍ଟଡି ମେଟେରିଆଲ ଗୁଡା ଆମ ପ୍ରଫେସର ମାନଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ, ତୁମେ ଷ୍ଟୁଡେଣ୍ଟ ମାନଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ନୁହେଁ, କାରଣ ତୁମେ ତାକୁ ପଢିକି ସାରି ପାରିବନି।
ହୁଁ
ସାରିପାରିବ ତ ଏତେ ଛୋଟ ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି ମୋର 42 43 ହେଲାଣି ମତେ ଦେଖା ଯାଉନି ଭଲ, ମାନେ ଏତେ ମାନେ ଛୋଟ ଅକ୍ଷର ଆଉ ଦେଖା ଯାଉନି ତାର ସେ
ଆଉ
ପାଇବନି ବି
ବେଟର
ମାନେ
ହବ
ସେ ଭିତରେ
ୟୁଟ୍ୟୁବରୁ
ସବୁ
କ୍ଲାସ
ଅଛି।
କରିକି ତା ସିଲାବସ ଅନୁସାରେ ଯଦି ପଢନ୍ତେ ଆଉ ଟିକେ ବେଟର ହୁଅନ୍ତା, ମତେ ଲାଗୁଛି ସେଇଟା ହିଁ ଠିକ ଉପାୟ, ଆଉ
ଇଏ
କିଛି
ଯଦି ଏଇ
ଦ୍ୱିତୀୟ ଉପାୟ
ସାର୍
କିଛି ନାହିଁ।
ଏଇ ସାର୍ ନାଇଁ ଶୁଣନ୍ତୁ ଏଇ ସାର୍ ଯଦି ତାଙ୍କର ନୋଟ୍ସ ଦେଇଦେବେ ତାହେଲେ ଏଇଟା କାମ ଦବ ବହୁତ। ସେଇଟାକ ତାଙ୍କୁ କାଲି କହିକି ତାଙ୍କ ଲାଷ୍ଟ କ୍ଲାସ ବେଳେ ତାଙ୍କୁ କହିକି ଯେ ସାର୍ ଆପଣ ଯୋଉଟା ପଢଉଛନ୍ତି ସେଇଟା ଟିକେ ଆମକୁ ଦେଇଦିଅନ୍ତୁ।
ଦେଖ
ପିଡିଏଫ
ଆଜି
ରେ
ସାର୍
ଦେଇଦେଲେ
ମଧ୍ୟ
ଆମେ ବାହାର କରିନେବା।
ଆଜି ସାର୍ ମଝିରେ ପଢିଲା ବେଳେ ସାର୍ ନିଜେ ହିଁ କହିଲେ ଯେ ତାଙ୍କ ଟୋଟାଲ ଲେକ୍ଚର କ୍ଲାसेସ୍ ସବୁ ସରିଲା ପରେ ସେ ଅଲରେଡି ଗ୍ରୁପରେ ନୋଟ୍ ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ ସବୁ କରିବେ।
ହଁ ସେ
ନୋଟ୍
ଆଗରୁ ବି
ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ କରିବେ,
କହୁଥିଲେ।
ମାନେ ନୋଟ୍ ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ କରିବା ସହିତ ଆମର MEG ଫାଇନାଲ ଇୟର ଏକ୍ଜାମ ଯୋଉ ହବ ଆମର ଏଇ ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଇୟର ଏକ୍ଜାମ ଯୋଉ ହବ ସେଥିପାଇଁ ସେ କିଛି ସିଲେକ୍ଟିଭ କୋଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ସହିତ ନୋଟ୍ ସହିତ ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ କରିବେ ସାର୍ କହିଲେ। ଆଉ କହିଲେ ହ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡ ରିଟେନ୍ ନୋଟ୍ ହଉ କି ସେ ସଫ୍ଟ କପି ହଉ ଯାହା ବି ହଉ ସାର୍ ଅଲରେଡି ମାନେ ଗ୍ରୁପରେ ହିଁ ସାର୍ ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ କରିବେ ୱିଥ୍ କୋଶ୍ଚିନ୍ସ ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ କୋଶ୍ଚିନ୍ସ।
ସେଇଟା ଏଥର ହବାର ଅଛି ଆଉ ସେଇଟା
ସେଇଟା
ଦେଖାଯାଉ।
ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ କଲେ ଟିକେ ବେଟର ହବ ଆମକୁ ଟିକେ ପଢିବା ପାଇଁ ଆଉ।
ନିହାତି
ସେଇଟା
ନିହାତି
କହିବା ନା ଆଉ
ନାଇଁ
ସେଇଟା
ସାର୍
କହିକି କରା କରିବା।
ଦେଖ ଭାଇ ସାର୍ ନିଶ୍ଚୟ ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ଯୋଉମାନେ ବି ଜଏନ୍ ହେଇଛନ୍ତି ଇଏରେ ମାନେ
ହୁଁ
ଅଳ୍ପ କିଛି ସମୟ ଛାଡିକି ପ୍ରାୟ ସମସ୍ତେ ମାନେ ଗ୍ରାଜୁଏସନ ତାଙ୍କର ଇଂଲିଶ ନଥିବ। ମାନେ 70-80% ଯୋଉମାନେ ଜଏନ୍ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଇଂଲିଶରେ
ହୁଁ
ତାଙ୍କର ଗ୍ରାଜୁଏସନ ବି ଇଂଲିଶ ନାହିଁ। ଆଉ 30% ତାଙ୍କର
ହଁ।
ଗ୍ରାଜୁଏସନ ଇଂଲିଶ। ତେଣୁ
ନାଇଁ ସେ
ସାର୍ ବି
ତାପରେ
ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି
ସ୍ପିଡରେ ଡାକୁଛନ୍ତି ନା ସେ ଲେଖି ହବନି ମୁଁ ଦେଖୁଥିଲି ଯେ ବହୁତ
ହଁ
ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରୁଛି ଲେଖି ହବନି ବହୁତ
ସାର୍ ବି
କମ ଲେଖି
ମାନେ ମୁଁ
ଖଣ୍ଡିଆ ଦଣ୍ଡିଆ ଲେଖା
ପଚାରୁଥିଲି
ହଉଛି
ତାଙ୍କୁ,
ଲେଖା ହଉନି।
ମାନେ ମୁଁ
ସାର୍ ବି କହିଛନ୍ତି
ପଚାରୁଥିଲି
ନୋଟ ବି ଦେବେ ଆଉ କୋଶ୍ଚେନ ବି ଦେବେ ତ କହିଛନ୍ତି ମାନେ ସରିଲା ପରେ।
ହଁ ସାର୍ ଆଜି କହିଲେ ବା ସେ ସାର୍ ମଝି କ୍ଲାସରେ ସାର୍ କହିଲେ।
ନା ଆଗରୁ ବି ଦିଥର ତିନିଥର କହିଲେଣି ମୁଁ ଜାଣିଛି। ଫାଷ୍ଟ
ମାନେ
ଦିନରେ
ମୁଁ
ତ
ଯେତିକି
କହୁଥିଲେ।
ଜାଣିଛି ଆମ ଉପର କ୍ଲାସ ପିଲାଙ୍କ ସହ କଥା ହଉଥିଲି ଯୋଉମାନେ ଇଂଲିଶରେ ଜଏନ୍ କରିଥିଲେ ସେ କହନ୍ତି ଯେ ମାନେ ନୋଟ୍ ଅଲରେଡି ଯୋଉ ମାନେ ଯାହା ସବୁ ଅଛି ସବଜେକ୍ଟ କୋଡ୍ ଯାହା ସବୁ ଅଛି ଅନଲାଇନ କ୍ଲାସ ଯାହା ସବୁ ହଉଛି ସେ କ୍ଲାସେସ୍
ହୁଁ
ସରିଲା ପରେ ସାର୍ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ଗ୍ରୁପରେ ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ କରିଦିଅନ୍ତି ନୋଟ୍। କାରଣ ନହେଲେ ପିଲା
ସେଇଟା
ବି ହଇରାଣ
ଡେଲି
ହେଇଯିବେ ନା
ବେସିସରେ
ମାନେ
କଲେ ଭଲ ହୁଅନ୍ତା। ସେଇଟା ଡେଲି
ଆଁ
ବେସିସରେ ଧର ଆଜି ଗୋଟେ ବ୍ଲକ 1 ପଢା ହେଲା ବ୍ଲକ 1 ନୋଟ୍ ଟା ଆଜି ଦେଇଦେତେ ବ୍ଲକ 2 ପଢା ହେଲା ବ୍ଲକ 2 ଟା ଆଜି ଦେଇଦେତେ। ଏମିତି ହେଲେ ଭଲ
ହୁଁ
ହୁଅନ୍ତା ତାମାନେ କଣ ଆମେ ଯୋଉ ପଢା ହେଲା ସେଇଟା ଟିକେ ଆମେ ଦେଖିଦେଲେ ତା ପର ଦିନକୁ ଟିକେ ମନେ ରହିଯାନ୍ତା ଆଉ 5 ଦିନ 6 ଦିନ
ହଁ
ପରେ ଦେଲେ
ସେଇଟା
ସେଟା ଟିକେ ଅସୁବିଧା ହଉଛି।
ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ମେନ୍ କଥା
ସେମିତି
ହେଲା ସାର୍ ହ୍ୟାଲୋ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ମେନ୍ କଥା ହେଲା ସାର୍ ନିଜେ ବହୁତ ମାନେ ଏନଗେଜ ରହୁଛନ୍ତି। ସାର୍ ଯେହେତୁ ଜଣେ ଲେକ୍ଚର ସେ ନିଜେ କଲେଜ ହଉଛି ତାଙ୍କର ଅଲଗା ପର୍ସନାଲ କୋଚିଂ ରହୁଛି। ପର୍ସନାଲ କ୍ଲାसेସ୍ ବି ରହୁଛି ଇଗ୍ନୋ ଆମର ଏଇ ଗୋଟେ ବ୍ୟାଚ୍ ସହିତ ସେ ଆହୁରି ବି 5-6ଟା ବ୍ୟାଚ୍ କରୁଛନ୍ତି। ତେଣୁ ସାର୍ ଟୋଟାଲ ଓଭରଅଲ୍ ପୁରା ଟାଇଟ୍ ହେଇଯାଉଛନ୍ତି ମାନେ ମୁଁ ଯଦି ପଚାରୁଥିଲି ଉପର କ୍ଲାସ ପିଲାଙ୍କୁ ଯେ ସାର୍ ଲେକ୍ଚର ସରିଲା ପରେ ହିଁ ସବୁ ଦିଅନ୍ତି କାରଣ ସେ ଯଦି ଆମକୁ ଯଦି ନୋଟ୍ ଆଜି ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ କରିଦେଲେ କୌଣସି ଅସୁବିଧା ଯୋଗୁଁ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଗ୍ରୁପକୁ ଦେଇପାରିବେନି। ତେବେ ସେଇଟା ମାନେ ସେଇ ଗ୍ରୁପ ପିଲା ସଫର ହେବେ ନା ତେଣୁ ଚାର୍ଟ ଟାଇମ କ୍ଲାସ ସବୁ ସରିଲା ପରେ ସବୁ ଗ୍ରୁପ ଯୋଉମାନେ ସାର୍ ଅଛନ୍ତି ସମସ୍ତେ ଆଟେ ସବୁ ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ କରିଦେବେ।
ଆଉ ଭାଇ ଆଜି ଜଣେ ଯୋଉ ଆମର ଅଛନ୍ତି ସେଇ ଗ୍ରୁପରେ ଜଣେ ଯୋଉ ବର୍ଷା ମ୍ୟାମ ଜଣେ ବୋଲି ଅଛନ୍ତି ତାଙ୍କୁ ପଚାରୁଥିଲି ଡାଉଟ କ୍ଲିୟର କରିବା ପାଇଁ ସେ କହିଲେ କି ତୁମର ଯୋଉ ପାରାଗ୍ରାଫର ଯୋଉ ଲେଖିବନି ନା ଆମର ଯୋଉ ମେନ ଏକ୍ଜାମ ରେ କିନ୍ତୁ ଯୋଉ ଲାଇନ ତାର ଥିବନି ନା ଧର ଗୋଟେ କିଛି ପାରା ଲେଖିଲ ତାପରେ ଛାଡିକି ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ପାରା ଯୋଉ ଲେଖିବା କଥା ମୁଁ କହିଲି ସବୁ ଆମେ 2-4ଟା ଘର ଛାଡି ଲେଖି ହବ ନା କହିଲେ ନା ସେମିତି ଲେଖି ତୁମେ ବି ପାରିବନି କହିଲା ପୁରା ପ୍ରତ୍ୟେକ ଘରକୁ ହଁ ସେମିତି ଗୋଟେ ଘର ଛାଡିଦେଲେ ହବ କିନ୍ତୁ 4-5ଟା ଘର ଏକାଥରେ ଛାଡି ଲେଖିନେ ସେଟା ସବୁ ମାର୍କ ଦେବେନି କହିଲେ ମୁଁ ମୋ ଏକ୍ସପିରିଏନ୍ସ କହୁଛି ସିଏ କାଳେ ଦେଇଥିଲେ ସେମିତି କହିଲେ ତାଙ୍କର କାଳେ କାଟି ଦେଇଥିଲେ ମୁଁ କହିଲି କାହାର କଣ କରୁଛନ୍ତି କେମିତି କଣ ଜାଣିବୁ ସେ ଯଦି କଣ
ମାନେ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍
ହ୍ୟାଲୋ
ଆନ୍ସର ନା ଆସାଇନମେଣ୍ଟ?
ନା କୋଶ୍ଚେନ୍ ଆନ୍ସର ନୁହେଁ ଆମର ଯୋଉ ଏକ୍ଜାମ ଯୋଉ ଦେବା ମେନ୍ ଏକ୍ଜାମ ସେ ମେନ୍ ଏକ୍ଜାମ ର ପୁରା ପେପର ଯୋଉ ଫୁଲ କରତେ ପଡିବ ଆଉ କହିଲେ କି ପେପର ଯୋଉ ମାନେ ଧର କିଛି ପାରା ଲେଖିଲ ତାପରେ ମାନେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଟିକେ ଛାଡି ଯୋଉ ଲେଖାନ୍ତି ନା ପାରା
ହୁଁ।
ଯେମିତି ଓଡିଆରେ ଲେଖନ୍ତି ତାପରେ ଛାଡିକି ସେ ଯୋଉ ପାରା ଲେଖନ୍ତି କହିଲେ ସେଭଳିଆ ଲେଖିନେ କହିଲେ ତୁମର ସେଭଳିଆ ଲେଖିନେ ତୁମର ମାନେ ଘର ଛାଡିଦେଲେ ତୁମକୁ ଦେବେନି ସେ ମାର୍କ ମୁଁ କହିଲି ଆଉ ସେଭଳିଆ ଲେଖିନେ ତ ଟିକେ ଭଲ ଦେଖାଯିବ ମାନେ ଶୋ ଟା ଭଲ ଆସିବ କିନ୍ତୁ ଆଉ ସେଭଳିଆ ମାର୍କ ଦେବେନି କଣ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଏଇ କଥା ପଚାରୁଥିଲି କହିଲେ ନା ସେମିତି ମୋ ଏକ୍ସପିରିଏନ୍ସ ରେ କହୁଛି କି ଏମିତି ଦେବେନି କାରଣ ମୋର ସେମିତି କରିଥିଲି ମତେ ଗୋଟେ ବ୍ୟାକ୍ ଲଗେଇଥିଲେ ଏଇଆ କହୁଥିଲି ମୁଁ କହିଲି ଡର ଲାଗିଲା ମାନେ କଣ କରିବୁ ତାହେଲେ ସେମିତି ପ୍ରଣାଳୀ ହେଲେ କିନ୍ତୁ ଲେଖିବା କଥା
ସେମିତି ହେଲେ ବେଗ ସବୁ
ସେଇ କଥା
ଲାଗିବ
ତ ମୁଁ କହୁଛି କାହିଁକି ନା ସେଇଭଳିଆ ୱେର ତ ଲେଖିନେ ସେଇ ନା
ସେମିତି
ସେଇଭଳିଆ ୱେର ତ ଆମ +3 ଟା ତ ମୁଁ ସେଇଭଳିଆ ୱେର ଲେଖିଛି କାରଣ ସେଇଭଳିଆ ୱେର ଲେଖିଲେ ଡିଜାଇନ ଟା ଭଲ ଆସିବ ଜଣେ ଯେ ଖାତା ଦେଖୁଥିବ ତାଙ୍କୁ ବି ଇମ୍ପ୍ରେସନ ଟା ଭଲ ଆସିବ ଆଉ ଏମିତି ପୁରା ଲେଖିଦବୁ ପୁରା ଯେମିତି କପି ପେଷ୍ଟ କରିଦେଲେ ଏଟା କଣ
ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ବର୍ଷା ମ୍ୟାମ ସେ ମେଣ୍ଟର ନା
ହଁ ସେଇଆ
ଷ୍ଟୁଡେଣ୍ଟ ଜଣେ?
3-4 ଲାଇନ୍ ଛାଡିକି ଲେଖିଲେ ଠିକ ହବ କିନ୍ତୁ ଏତେ ବି
ନା
ସ୍ପେସ
ନା
ଦବାଟା
ଲେକ୍ଚର
ଠିକ
ନୁହେଁ ତାଙ୍କର ଏଇଟା ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ଇୟର ହେଲା ସେ ଲେକ୍ଚର ନୁହେଁ ସେ ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ଥର ଏକ୍ଜାମ ହେଇଥିଲେ ତାଙ୍କର ମାନେ ଲଗେଇଥିଲେ ବ୍ୟାକ୍ ସେଇ କଥା କହୁଥିଲେ କହିଲେ ଏମିତି ଲେଖିବନି ଏମିତି ଲେଖିନେ ସେ ଇଏ କରିପାରନ୍ତି ମୁଁ ନା ସେମିତି ଯଦି ହୁଅନ୍ତା ତମେ ବହୁତ ଛୁଆ ସେମିତି ଏକ୍ଜାମ ଦଉଛନ୍ତି ନା ମୁଁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ସିଏ ବି ଟିକେ ବ୍ୟସ୍ତ ଥିଲେ ମୁଁ ବି ଟିକେ ବ୍ୟସ୍ତ ଥିଲି ମୁଁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ବେଶୀ ଡାଉଟ ପଚାରି ପାରିଲିନି ମୁଁ ତାକୁ ରଖିଦେଲି ଫୋନ ମୁଁ ପଛରେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଫୋନ କରିବି ମୁଁ କାଲି ହେଲେ ଆଉ ଟିକେ ଜାଣିବା ପାଇଁ
ସେ ବର୍ଷା ମ୍ୟାମ ସେ ମାନେ ତମ କେନ୍ଦୁଝରର?
ନା ତାଙ୍କ ଘରଟା କୋଉଠି ଆମର ଏଇ ଯାଜପୁର ହୁଁ
ଯାଜପୁର ଯେହେତୁ ସେ ଏକ୍ସପିରିଏନ୍ସ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଟିକେ ମାନେ ସଠିକରେ ଟିକେ ବୁଝିନିଅ ମାନେ
ହଁ
ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି
ସେଇଟା ବୁଝିନେବା ବା
ହଁ ତମର ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଇୟର ନା?
ହଁ ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଇୟର ବା ଏଇ ଜୁଲାଇରେ ଏକ୍ଜାମ ଦେବି
ହଁ।
ଭାଇ ତୁମର କୋଉ ଇୟର?
ମୋର?
ହଁ।
ହଁ ମୋର ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଇୟର ମୋର ଏଇ ଏକ୍ଜାମ ଏଇ ଜୁଲାଇରେ ହିଁ ଦେବି
ଓହୋ।
ଏଇ ପଢାପଢି କେମିତି କଣ
ମୁଁ
ଚାଲିଛି
ଗୋଟେ
ଆରମ୍ଭ
ଛୋଟ
କଲଣି ନା ପଢାପଢି?
ହଁ ପଢାପଢି ଭାଇ ରେଗୁଲାର କ୍ରିକେଟ ଖେଳ ହିଁ ଟାଇମ ଯାଉଛି ଟୁର୍ଣ୍ଣାମେଣ୍ଟରେ
ସେଇ ତ ହଉଛି କଥା ନ ପଢିଲେ ଆଉ
ପୁଣି ଏବେ
ହବନି ଟାଇମ ହାତରେ 3 ମନ୍ଥ ଅଛି 3 ମନ୍ଥ ଭିତରେ ଯାହା କରିବ ଆଉ
ପୁଣି 10th
ତାପରେ
କ୍ଲାସ ପିଲାଙ୍କ ଏକ୍ଜାମ ଟାଇମ ବି
ତାପରେ ଆମେ
ପଡୁଛି।
ତାପରେ ଭାଇ ହେଲେ ଆମେ ହେଲେ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ ଷ୍ଟୁଡେଣ୍ଟ ମାନେ ଏକ୍ଜାମ ଗୋଟେ ଦିନ ପୂର୍ବରୁ ଆମେ ପଢିବା ଏକ୍ଜାମ ପୂର୍ବରୁ ଆମେ କେବେ ପଢିବାନି ଯୋଉ ଦିନ ଏକ୍ଜାମ ତା ପୂର୍ବ ଦିନ ହିଁ ପଢିବା
ଏକ୍ଜାମ ଗୋଟେ ଦିନ ରାତି ସଫିସିଏଣ୍ଟ ପୁରା ବର୍ଷା
ଏ
କୋର୍ସ
ସେଇଟା
କହୁଛି
ଲିଟରେଚର ପାଇଁ ସଫିସିଏଣ୍ଟ ନୁହଁ
ନା ଲିଟରେଚର ପାଇଁ ସଫିସିଏଣ୍ଟ ନୁହଁ
ହଁ ମୁଁ ତ ଦେବି ଡିସେମ୍ବର ମାସରେ ଏକ୍ଜାମ ଆଉ
ତମେ ଡିସେମ୍ବର ମାସ ଏକ୍ଜାମ ଦବ
ହଁ
ତାମାନେ ଏଇ
ମୋର
ନିଉ ଇୟର
ଜାନୁଆରୀରେ
ତମେ ଓ ଜାନୁଆରୀ ବ୍ୟାଚ୍ ତମେ ଜଏନ୍ କରୁଛ
ହୁଁ
ତୁମର ଯୋଉ ନାଁ ଟା ଯୋଉ ଭୁଲ ଥିଲା ତୁମର ଠିକ ହେଲା ନା ଏଯାଏଁ ହେଇନି ଆହୁରି
ମୁଁ ବା ଯାଇନି ଭଦ୍ରକ ଯାଇନି ପୁରା
ଯାଇକି ନାଁ ଟା କରେକ୍ସନ କରିଦିଅ ପୁଣି ନାମ ହଇରାଣ ହବନି
ହଁ ହଁ ଯିବି ଆଉ
ତମ ସଂଗ୍ରାମ ଭାଇ ତମ ନମ୍ବର ଟା ଦବ
ହଉ ଠିକ ଅଛି ଦେଇଦେବି ଯୋଉ ମୁଁ କହୁଥିଲି କଣ
ସଂଗ୍ରାମ
ଭାଇ
ଝିଅ
ଆଉ
ହେଇଗଲା
ଯୋଉ କଣ କହୁଥିଲି କହନି ଆମର ଆସାଇନମେଣ୍ଟ ନୁହେଁ ତୁମେ ଲେଖିନ ଲେଖିନ ଏଯାଏଁ
ନାଇଁ ମୁଁ ଲେଖା ତ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କରିନି ଅଲରେଡି ପିଡିଏଫ୍ କଲେକ୍ସନ ବି କରିନି ଜଣେ ସାଙ୍ଗ କହିଛି ସେ ମତେ ପିଡିଏଫ୍ ଦେବେ ବାକି ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କଥା ହେଲା ମୁଁ ଏଇ 2 ଦିନ 3 ଦିନ ଭିତରେ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କରିଦେବି ନହେଲେ ଲେଟ୍ ହେଇଯିବ ମାନେ କଭର କଲେ ଆସିକି
ସେଇ ତ ହେଲା କଭର କରିଦେଲେ ଏଟା ମୁଁ ଅଲରେଡି ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କରିସାରିଲିଣି ତଥାପି ପୁଣି ବି ଡାଉଟ ରହୁଛି ଯୋଉ ଆମର ହେଇନା ଆମର ଯୋଉ ପ୍ୟାସେଜ ଏଡା ନା ଯୋଉ ପଏମରୁ ଯୋଉ ଦେଇନି ନା ଲେଖାଟା ସେଇଟା ତା ଭିତରେ ରେଫରେନ୍ସ କମେଣ୍ଟ ସେଇଟା
ହଁ
ଯୋଉ ଲେଖିବା ସେଇଟା ଯୋଉ ଲେଖାଟା ସେଇ ପ୍ୟାଟର୍ନ ଟା କେମିତି ସେଇଟା ପାଇଁ ମୁଁ କେତେ ଜଣଙ୍କୁ ଫୋନ କରିସାରିଲିଣି ଠିକ ନାହିଁ
ହୁଁ ତ
ତାପରେ ମୁଁ ଲେଖୁଛି
ତମର ଇଏ
ଫାଇନାଲ ଜାଣିକି ଲେଖୁଛି ତାପରେ ଆଉ ଜଣେ ତାଙ୍କର ଜଣେ ଏକ୍ସପିରିଏନ୍ସ ବାଲା ମାନେ ସେ ଅଲରେଡି ଏକ୍ଜାମ ଦେଇ ସାରିଲେଣି ତାଙ୍କୁ ଫୋନ କରିକି ଆଜି ରାତିରେ ପଚାରିବି ତାଙ୍କର ମାନେ ଆସାଇନମେଣ୍ଟ କୋଉ ୱେରେ ଲେଖାଯାଏ ସେଇଭଳିଆ ୱେରେ ମୁଁ ଲେଖିକି ପୁରା ସାରିଦେବି ବୋଲି ଭାବିଛି ଆଜି ଭାବିଛି ରାତି ସାରା ପଢି ଲେଖିବି କିନ୍ତୁ ପ୍ରତ୍ୟେକ ଦିନ କହୁଛି କିନ୍ତୁ କୋଉ ଦିନ ରାତି ଗୋଟେ ଲେଖିକି ସାରିପାରୁନି।
ତମ କୋର୍ସ କୋଡ କଣ କଣ ସବୁ?
ମୋର ବା
ମୋର
MEG
ବି ସେଇ
1 2 3 5।
ଓହୋ 1 2 3 5 ନା? ହୁଁ।
ମାର୍ଚ୍ଚ 31 ଲାଷ୍ଟ ଡେଟ୍ ନା, ମାନୁଛି ଡେଟ୍ ଏକ୍ସଟେଣ୍ଡ କରିବ ଯଦି ନ କଲା ତା ପୂର୍ବରୁ ଆମେ ସାରିଦବାଟା ବେଟର ହବ ନା।
ମାନେ ମାର୍ଚ୍ଚ 25 ବେଳକୁ ଯେମିତି ଆମ ସବୁ ପୁରା ରେଡି ହେଇକି ଥିବ ଯେମିତି।
ମୁଁ ତ ଭାବିଛି ମାର୍ଚ୍ଚ 10 ଭିତରେ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟିଂ ମାନେ ସାରିଦବା ପାଇଁ ଭାବିଛି ମାନେ ବେଶୀ ଟାଇମ ଲେଟ୍ କରିବା ଠିକ ନୁହେଁ।
ହୁଁ। ପୁଣି ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କଥା ବି ସେ କହିଲେ
ମୁଁ
ମାର୍ଚ୍ଚ 28
କହୁଛି ନା
ପରେ ସେ ଆକ୍ସେପ୍ଟ
ଆସାଇନମେଣ୍ଟରେ
କରିବେନି।
ବେଶୀ କିଛି କୋଟେସନ ଦବା ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ ହେଲା, ନର୍ମାଲି ଯେମିତି ଲେଖିବା କଥା ଲେଖ। କିନ୍ତୁ ଏତେ ବି ଲେଖନି କାହିଁକି ନା ମୁଁ ପୂର୍ବରୁ ସେ ଗ୍ରାଜୁଏସନ ପିଲାଙ୍କର ଲେଖିଛି। ତ ଏତେ କିଛି ଲେଖନି, ଯେମିତି ନର୍ମାଲି ଲେଖିବା କଥା ଲେଖ ହେଲା। ଟିକେ
ନା
ସେଇଟା
ନା
ବେଷ୍ଟ
ଶୁଣ,
ମାର୍କ ଆସିବ ଆଣିବାରେ।
ଗ୍ରାଜୁଏସନ ବା ଅଲଗା ଏଟା ବା ପିଜି। ପୋଷ୍ଟ ଗ୍ରାଜୁଏସନ ଏଟା ଲେଖି ତ ପଢିବ କେମିତି ୱେରେ ଠିକ ଠାକ ନ ଲେଖିନେ ହବନି।
ହଉ ଲେଖ ଆଉ ତାପରେ ମତେ କହିବ କେତେ ମାର୍କ ଆସୁଛି ହେଲା। ସେଇ ଅନୁସାରେ ମୁଁ ବି ଲେଖିବି।
ସେଇ ହେଲା କଥା, ନ
ତ
ଲେଖିନେ ଠିକ ୱେରେ ଲେଖିଥିବୁ କିଛି ଅସୁବିଧା ନାହିଁ।
ହୁଁ।
ଏ କଲେ କ୍ଲାସ ରୁମ୍ 2 ଯୋଉ ଅଛି ସେ କିଏ?
ମୁଁ ବି ଜାଣିନି ସେ କିଏ, ଅଛନ୍ତି ତ ଅଛନ୍ତି।
ହଉ ସଂଗ୍ରାମ ଭାଇ
ଏଠି
ତମ ନମ୍ବର
ଫରେନର
ଟା ସେଣ୍ଡ କର।
ଫରେନର ବି ଢେରେ କ୍ଲାସ କରୁଛନ୍ତି, ଯୋଉ ମଜଦା ମ୍ୟାମ କିଏ ଗୋଟେ ସେ ଗୋଟେ ଫରେନର କୋଉଠି ଗୋଟେ କିଏ ସାଉଥ ଆଫ୍ରିକା ନା ନର୍ଥ ଆଫ୍ରିକାର ଜଣେ ମାନେ କ୍ଲାସ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଲେଡି ଜଣେ।
ହୁଁ।
ଆଉଟ ସାଇଡର ବହୁତ ଅଛନ୍ତି ଆଉଟ ସାଇଡର, କିନ୍ତୁ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ତେଜସ କୁମାର ମ୍ୟାଡାମ ନୁ ନା ତାଙ୍କ ସହିତ ଟିକେ କଣ୍ଟାକ୍ଟ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଚାହୁଁଛି ହେଇପାରେ, ମାନେ ସିଏ ବାରମ୍ବାର କୋଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ପଚାରୁଛନ୍ତି କ୍ଲାସରେ ଏନି ଟାଇମରେ। ସିଏ ମତେ ଲାଗୁଛି ନୋଟ ମାନେ ବହୁତ ନୋଟ ସେ ପାଖାପାଖି ଲେଖିଥିବେ MEG-5 ର। ତାଙ୍କ ସହିତ କଣ୍ଟାକ୍ଟ ହେଲେ ନୋଟ ଟା ବହୁତ ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ ହେଇପାରନ୍ତା।
ମୁଁ ତ ଦେଇଦେବି, ମାନେ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ନୋଟ ଲେଖିବାକୁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କଲେ ଲେଖି ହଉନି। ମୁଁ କଣ କଲି ନା ତାପରେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଫୋନରେ ଆଣିକି ରେକର୍ଡିଂ କରିଦେଇକି ପଛରେ ନୋଟ ଲେଖିଦେଇଛି ସାର୍ ଯେତିକି ଡକେଇଛନ୍ତି।
ହଁ ସେଟା ବି ଭଲ, କିନ୍ତୁ ମୁଁ ସେ ଭାବୁଛି ସାର୍ ବି କହିଛନ୍ତି ନୋଟ
ଏତେ
ଲାଷ୍ଟକୁ
ଟାଇମ୍ ଦେଇ ହବନି। ଗୋଟେ ମାନେ 2.5 ଘଣ୍ଟା 3 ଘଣ୍ଟା ଯଦି କ୍ଲାସ କଲ ତାପରେ ପୁଣି ସେଇ 2.5 ଘଣ୍ଟା 2 ଘଣ୍ଟା ବସିକି ଲେଖିବ ଏଇଟା
ସେଇଟା ହେଲା
ପସିବୁଲ
କଥା,
ନୁହଁ।
ସେଇଟା ହେଲା ବୋରିଂ, ସେଇଟା ବୋରିଂ ବେଶୀ ଲାଗିବ। ତାପରେ ଏ ସାରଙ୍କ କ୍ଲାସ ଟା ଟିକେ ମତେ ଭଲ ଲାଗୁଛି କିନ୍ତୁ ଟିକେ ବୋରିଂ ଟିକେ ବେଶୀ ଲାଗୁଛି ଆଉ। ମୁଁ ଏଇଟା କଣ ସେ ଗୁଗଲ ସାର୍ ଟୋଟାଲି ଗୁଗଲ ଦେଖୁଛନ୍ତି, ଗୁଗଲ ଡାଇରେକ୍ଟ ପଢଉଛନ୍ତି ଜାଣିଛ ନା।
ଗୁଗୁଲ ନୁହଁ, ସାରଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ ବହି ଥିବ ବହିରୁ ପଢଉଛନ୍ତି ସେ।
ଏ
ଆଉ
ଗୁଗୁଲରେ
ଗୁଗୁଲ
ଜଣେ
ବି
ଛାଡିଥିଲେ, ଶୁଣ ଗୁଗୁଲ ଜଣେ ଛାଡିଥିଲେ ସେଇ ଗ୍ରୁପ ରେ ଯାହା ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି ସାର୍ ଡିଟୋ ସେଇଟାକୁ ପଢେଇଥିଲେ, ମୁଁ ଦେଖିକି ଆଚମ୍ବିତ। ମୁଁ କହିଲି ସାର୍ ଟୋଟାଲି ଗୁଗଲ ପଢଉଛନ୍ତି, କିଛିଟା ନିଜ ୱାର୍ଡ ଦଉଛନ୍ତି ଆଉ କିଛି ବହି ପାଖରେ ରଖୁଛନ୍ତି ବହି ଦେଖିକି କହୁଛନ୍ତି।
ହଁ ସେଇ ଗ୍ରାଜୁଏସନ ବେଳେ ଆମ ମ୍ୟାଡାମ ବି ସେଇଭଳିଆ ପଢାନ୍ତି ସବୁ ଗୁଗୁଲରୁ ଡାଇରେକ୍ଟ। ମୋବାଇଲ ଖୋଲିଥିବ ପାଠ ପଢ।
ସେଇତ ହେଲା କଥା, ମାନେ ପଢଉଛନ୍ତି ଡାଇରେକ୍ଟ, ସେ ନୋଟ ଦେଖା ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ କରନ୍ତୁ କଣ ଜାଣିବା ଆଉ।
ହୁଁ ସଂଗ୍ରାମ ଭାଇ ତମ ନମ୍ବର ଟା ସେଣ୍ଡ କରିବ।
କୋଉଟାରେ ସେଣ୍ଡ କରିବି ତମେ ଡାକି ଦଉଛି ଲେଖିଦିଅ।
ହୁଁ ଡାକିଦିଅ।
ସିକ୍ସ
ଯୋଉଟା
ଥ୍ରୀ
ଯୋଉଟା
ସେଭେନ
ତମର
ୱାନ୍
ଯୋଉଟା ତମର କଣ୍ଟାକ୍ଟ ନମ୍ବର ପ୍ଲସ ହ୍ୱାଟ୍ସଆପ ନମ୍ବର ଯୋଉଟା।
ହଁ ସେଇଟା ତ ମୋ ଗୋଟେ ନମ୍ବର ଆଉ।
ହଁ 63
6371
6371
009061।
0090
61।
6371 ହ୍ୟାଲୋ।
କୁହ।
6371
ଡବଲ ଜି
009061।
61।
ହଁ ଠିକ ଅଛି ମୁଁ ତମକୁ ମେସେଜ
ସୁନିତା
କରିଦଉଛି।
ମ୍ୟାଡାମ ଗୋଟେ କିଏ ଅଛନ୍ତି ଓଡିଆ ବୋଧେ ସେ।
ହଁ ତା ନାଁ ରୁ ତ ଜଣା ପଡୁଛି ସୁନିତା ବୋଧେ ଓଡିଆ ହେଇଥିବେ।
ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ କିନ୍ତୁ ସେ କଥା ହଉନାହାନ୍ତି, କାହିଁକିନା ଓଡିଆ ଯୋଉ ପିଲା ଗୁଡାକ ଓଡିଆ ସେଇମାନେ ହିଁ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ଅଛନ୍ତି ଏବେ।
ହୁଁ।
ହଉ ହଉ ଆମେ
ହଉ
ଚାଲ
ଯା
ଆମେ ଆଉ।